Good day, friends. It's Crypto Kraut. And in today's video, we are going to have a look at how leveraged farming on Alpaca Finance is working. So to begin with, what is leverage? Leverage describes that you're borrowing money to enter a position. That is as much true for perpetual trading on any traditional exchange, but it is also true for leveraged yield farming on Alpaca Finance. So to give you an example, if you're borrowing $100 additional to your $100 starting capital, you are achieving a leverage of 2x. If you are borrowing money, of course, you have to pay interest. And you could also have to return that money if your position is not playing out as intended. So going by the example of having $100 of initial capital, borrowing another $100 to achieve a leverage of 2x, let's say that your position is dropping to $105. That is because your trade is not going as you planned. At this point, you will be liquidated. Your position will be sold off and any outstanding debt will be returned to the debtor. So you will likely get liquidated at $105 because any liquidation engine will make sure that you are getting liquidated before any bad debt can take place. On the upside, of course, if you're borrowing money and enter a position with that, your gains will of course be amplified. That covers the risks and the benefits. And now I'll tell you why shorting any crypto is a bad idea. So shorting refers to basically betting on the price of an asset going down, whereas longing basically means that you're betting on the price of an asset to go up. Now, why is it a bad idea to short any crypto? So when you're shorting, the amount of gains that you can make is limited. If you short an asset that is worth $100 and it goes down to $1, you can make a profit of 99%. But if an asset that is currently worth $100 goes up to $1,000, you have a 10x gain. So the amount of money you can make in longing is, well, more or less unlimited. Of course, realistically, an asset will not go up in an unlimited manner. But if you're shorting, the amount of money you can make is at most 99.99%. And in crypto, of course, there can be ridiculous pumps and dumps, which is making leverage trading or yield farming somewhat of a riskier endeavor compared to traditional markets. But your short getting liquidated much more likely and can happen on low liquidity shitcoins without any technical analysis to back it up. So in my opinion, shorting crypto is a sure recipe for disaster. So in this video, we will focus on why longing crypto, especially in Alpaca Finance, can be very profitable and is better than longing any asset on a traditional exchange. So why would you use leveraged yield farming? Well, if you are using a leveraged position or opening a leveraged position on a traditional exchange, you are the one that is paying interest to the person that is borrowing the money to you. That is also true for Alpaca Finance, but because your position is a leveraged yield farming position, you are also earning yield. And that usually exceeds what you are paying in borrowing fees. So compared to a traditional exchange, you are actually earning money as long as you are holding your position. That is generally true. There are some outliers to it, but that's the gist of it. You are getting paid to hold your position, and then that can go up into triple digits. So let's have a look at how a net long exposure can be achieved if we are using Alpaca Finance to do leveraged yield farming. So as a quick example, on Alpaca Finance, a user can deposit $10,000 worth of Ethereum, borrow $20,000 worth of USDT, therefore achieving 3x leverage, and a farm position comprised of $15,000 in Ethereum and $15,000 in USDT, all in one click. In brackets, Alpaca will automatically swap tokens to make a 50-50 farming pair. In this example, $5,000 worth of USDT has been swapped for Ethereum. The user is now 1.5x leveraged on Ethereum, as the user now holds $15,000 worth of Ethereum compared to his initial position of $10,000 worth of Ethereum. In addition to having a 1.5x leverage long on Ethereum, the user will also earn 42% APY on his $10,000 equity as a result from earning higher farming yields on a position 3x the size of his equity. Therefore, if Ethereum rises, the user is not only earning multiplied gains on Ethereum, but also multiplied farming yields. So if we're going to the farming section here on Alpaca Finance, we can see all these pairs available. Now, not all of these pairs can be used to enter a long position. To enter a long position, generally you have to be able to select a leverage above 2x. Otherwise, you are not in a net long position. And you are always long against the asset that you are borrowing. That is also only true if you can go over a leverage of 2x. Might sound a little bit complicated, but we'll just leave it at that simple rule of thumb for now. If you want to enter a long position, you have to be able to borrow over 2x leverage. And you are always short on the asset you are borrowing, and you are always long on the asset that you are not borrowing. Another important thing worth mentioning here is that if the price of the asset that you did not borrow goes up roughly 10 to 20%, it also means that your leverage decreases. That is because the ratio of the assets that you own versus the assets that you borrowed decreases. Now, if that leverage level drops below 2x, at that point you stop being long on the asset that you did not borrow. So you want to make sure to track your current leverage on any position. And if you want to remain long on that asset, you should readjust your leverage ratio from time to time to at least stay above 2x. To keep this video rather on the short side without having to go more into the details of how impermanent loss plays out in various scenarios, in theory, what we will do instead here is to go to alpaca-mate.info. It's a very handy website where you can basically calculate how different scenarios will play out for you. So let's say that we want to long BNB versus BUSD. So if we want to do that, we have to borrow BUSD because remember, we are always short on the asset that we are borrowing, given that the leverage is over 2x, which is true. And we are going to add 10 BNB and 0 BUSD, with 1 BNB being worth $400 and 1 BUSD being worth 1 BUSD. Now here we are presented with a nice handy chart that is essentially telling us that if BUSD rises 36% against BNB, we are going to get liquidated, which means our position is sold off and any outstanding debt is automatically repaid to the person or pool that borrowed it to us. So going down here, let's say that we are wanting to farm for 60 days. And the predicted outcome is that 1 BNB is now worth $500. Initially, we started with 400, and 1 BUSD is still worth $1. Now, if we close our position after BNB went from 400 to 500, we would have a profit of $1,416. Now, what you also want to do is to key in your yield farming APR stats from here. Whereas you should always, in my opinion, leave trading fees at 0 because they are highly unpredictable and you should rather see them as a nice bonus to what you're earning instead of putting them into your calculation because you have no idea what they will really end up with. If we key in all of these stats here, we can tell that we've made a $756 yield from the 60 days we've been farming with. Now, why this is so much more compared to the total APR displayed here on Alpaca Finance is because this is taking into account that also our farming equity has been increasing. So as the value of BNB goes up and we are earning more BNB, therefore the amount of yield that we are earning also goes up. So this is how we arrive at this number. So to conclude, we've made $1,400 from longing BNB, and we've also made $750 from holding the position for 60 days. So this should give you a good idea why farming on Alpaca is a good idea, why leveraged yield farming on Alpaca is so much better than trading perpetuals on a traditional exchange. And if I've left anything out or you have anything that you want to know, you'll find my Telegram in the description below. Otherwise, you are free to comment on this video. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.